Getting our friends together isn't as easy as it used to be. We get it. Life comes at you fast. But trust us, your pals are desperate for a good hang. And when they hear you stock the party with drinks from Drizzly, they'll be banging down your door. Let Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery, take care of the supplies. All you need is an excuse. It doesn't even have to be a good one. It's your dog's birthday. The loquats are finally ripe. Whatever. With Drizzly, you can compare prices on a massive selection of beer, wine, and spirits and get them delivered straight to your door, which means you can entice the crew to leave their houses without ever leaving yours. Whatever the occasion, download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com. Today. Must be 21 plus. Not available in all locations. Man, I wish they had Drizzly when I used to play D&D and Riffs. Maybe it's time for me to start again. Thanks, Drizzly.
Do you ever feel like life is a never-ending series of lessons while you try to find purpose, meaning, and answers? I am Vanessa Fontana, the host of Figuring Shit Out, a podcast where we undertake self-help, coming of age, and healing. As I live my 20s in New York City figuring shit out myself, I've realized that if you spend your whole life trying to get your act together, you don't have a life. You have an act. On Figuring Shit Out, every Sunday you get to normalize the journey of not knowing and be guided into living your life with more intention and ease.
Hey! It's my song! Let's sing it! It's gonna be freaking awesome! Come on! It's gonna be freaking awesome! You know the words! It's gonna be freaking awesome! That's it! Say! It's gonna be freaking awesome! Yeah!
Hi-ho, Jesse Blaze Snider here, the Coolest Geek Alive. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Today, we are diving deep into Star Wars The Last Jedi and why it sucks. Yes, there's plenty of good things to talk about The Last Jedi, and we will in the next episode, which will be the good parts version. But this is the why it fucking sucks version. And we're really going to break it down because you know, people defend this movie for all the wrong reasons, and we're going to look at it black and white, look at what this movie is accomplishing and what it is failing to do, and you're going to see that ultimately this movie is responsible for why the third Star Wars film that Disney made sucked. Real quick, let's get our homework assignment out of the way. If you're not already a big fan of the Disney Afternoon and specifically Darkwing Duck, you should get Disney Plus and get in to the Disney Afternoon and specifically Darkwing Duck. But if you already are, check out my buddy Aaron Sparrow's definitive Darkwing edition. He edited and wrote the Darkwing Duck comics that were originally produced by Boom Studios. They followed up at another company, and they produced, I think, like 20-something great issues of Darkwing Duck. So if you're a Darkwing Duck fan, you got to check that out, because so much of my passion for talking about Star Wars and enjoying Star Wars comes from the fact that one of my best friends is a huge Star Wars fan, Aaron Sparrow. So I'm talking about this with so much authority and so much love because of people like Aaron, who I love for their fandom, their love of the fandom. So in supporting the Star Wars fandom, I want you to support a Star Wars fan who's also a brilliant writer by checking out Aaron Sparrow and any of the Darkwing Duck comics that he's written. All right, let's get into it. So last time we spoke, we were talking about The Last Jedi. I gave a little bit of a rundown for The Force Awakens and all the things that it set up for the sequel trilogy. And we started to talk about how Rian Johnson, the director and writer of this film, that he decided to flip everything that is set up in the first movie, and that the audience is kind of thinking, it's probably going to go this way. Rian just goes, let's go the other way. This movie is so interesting to talk about because it is so divisive, and the people who love it, they're right. There's some great shit about this movie. There's some shit about this movie that is worth loving. But the people who hate it, they're right too. Oh my God, there's some shit about this movie that is worth hating if you're not a Star Wars fan. There's some shit about this movie that's worth hating if you're a Star Wars fan. Oh, big time. And there is evidence, plenty, that Rian Johnson is not a fan. He's not a geek like you and I. And I want to talk about that and mention that, and I have it written down here, some of these little indications, because I know a lot of people were kind of like taken aback by some of the visceral reactions that people had to this movie, how upset they were about this movie. But I think it is the evidence of him not being a fan and sort of needling the fans with a couple choices that he made in this movie that I really think contributed to that feeling from a lot of people that, like, Rian's not one of us anyway. He's literally mocking us. He doesn't care about the lore for this thing that I love, and he's just doing whatever the hell he wants to do. And I don't think that perspective is wrong. I think they're right. I think he's just like most of the people in Hollywood who think we're all a bunch of geeks and why do we care so much and blah, blah, blah. You know, they chose the Hollywood path because, who cares? I'm too cool to care. When you're cool, you don't care. No, it's cool to care, man. It's cool to hold open doors for people. Cool to be nice to people. Cool to be polite. Cool to be empathetic. That's what being cool is. Assholes also call themselves cool. They're like, I'm too cool for that. No, you're an asshole. If you're too cool, you're a jerk. Most of the people in Hollywood, unfortunately, when they think that they're talking to somebody like you and I, a geek, somebody who is obsessed with some little bit of pop culture, they're like, these fucking morons. I've studied at the altar of Stanley Kubrick, the great auteurs of filmmaking. That's what they think. They think their shit is art, and our shit's just, comic books. I say this because it's what they think. You don't know how many hosting jobs I've been up for where I've had that experience that was reported a while ago where they're like, and why should Batman be canceled? And the comic book writer, the pro comic book writer in me is not able to say, oh yeah, obviously he should be. No, he shouldn't be canceled. No, that's stupid. You just call Batman a fascist? He spent the past 80 years saving people. What have you been doing with your fucking life? I mean, serious superheroes. So you're sitting here indicting superhero comics. All superhero comics do. Sci-fi, all of this shit. It's just heroes trying to save the world, trying to make the world a better place. And they sit here looking down their nose at us like we're naive assholes. And they're the assholes. And they're naive. They've lost their hope. They've lost their optimism. But we still got it. We're holding the torch for hope and optimism. And that's what all this stuff represents. And that's why it needs to be better. And that's why we need to talk about all this bullshit. We need to expose their stupid, shitty attitudes towards the things that we love and towards us as an audience, as a group. They've gotten louder and louder and more vitriolic towards the geek community for us resisting some of the crappy products they've been putting out. And I say no more. Nobody's going to shout me down or cancel me. This art is not art. They are ruining our stuff. And The Last Jedi, oh my God, it's such a brilliant example, especially because a good editor like my buddy Aaron Sparrow or myself, we could be brought into a movie like The Last Jedi, and right before that movie went into production, I could have went over that script and I could have fixed it. I swear. You just have to understand what it is that you're ultimately here to do, which, number one, please an audience. Number two, create a unifying film in the center of a trilogy that ties first and sets up an end. But this movie doesn't do that. We're super early into the movie. I haven't gotten into my 10 favorite things about the movie, and I think it's like 5 least favorite things about the movie. But honestly, everything that I'm going to be going through in like the main line here, none of it is good. I mean, some things I say, oh, this is good or whatever else, but honestly, this movie's filled with a lot of shitty choices. Just choices being made so that the movie can happen in the way that they want the movie to happen, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense. So we're going to continue with Finn meeting his new love interest, Rose Tico. Even though we finished The Force Awakens with Finn tripping over himself in love with Rey, and Rey clearly having some affection for him. And now they're not going to see each other until the end of this movie. And Rose Tico is going to just kind of wedge herself into like a love interest position with him. It's so weird. He was flirting with the lead in the last movie. So in the last movie, Finn is a possible boyfriend to the lead. And now his free will is being regularly violated by an overbearing, overachieving mechanic with a crush. Yes, in the opening scene of the movie, this really pisses me off. You know what? I talk about this a little bit later, so I might go over this twice. But Rose is guarding the escape pods to stop people from going AWOL. AWOL is like, I'm scared. I don't want to fight this war. I got to get out of here. I'm leaving. Like, I'm scared. I'm a coward. You're like, this is something back in wartime. You're like, oh, you're a coward. You went AWOL. War is ugly, brutish nonsense. Somebody wants to go AWOL, they can go AWOL. Screw this Rose Tico character deciding that she's going to take it upon herself to stop anybody from trying to get away. Dude, they volunteered to be a part of it in the first place. If they want to get away, they can freaking get away. This idea that this lady is sitting here as a stopgap to prevent somebody from running away in fear, I mean, like, that is cowardly. It is terrible. But you shouldn't be sitting here standing in judgment and I'm going to arrest you and throw you in the brig because you were trying to run away. This does not endear us to any character at all because she is violating other people's free will. So the opening bit of Rose Tico is her violating Finn's free will. And Finn, we've already been made to like in the first movie. John Boyega is a likable character. We like him from movie number 1. And then our first introduction to this character is this character trying to stop him from doing what his heart tells him to do. And he's not even going AWOL. He's trying to get to Rey. You want to not endear your audience to a person? We don't like to see other people forced to do things against their will. What is that? Rape, right? Rape. You're making me do something I don't want to do. Don't you make me do something I don't want to do. That's the whole idea of it. And yeah, I'm not trying to compare, but it is this thing, this forced physical. I'm going to make you do what I want to do. There's a spectrum of versions of rape, and there's the terrible one that we know of, but the meaning of that word is forced to do it my way. There's a lot of people in the political arena nowadays who think that they're going to force us to do it their way, which is crazy because when the Christians used to do that 30 years ago, we were like, get out of here with your stupid religion. This is America, freedom of religion. And now everybody's like, nope, I'm going to force you to do it the way that I see it because it's not religion. It's a personal ideology. I'm sorry. F your personal ideology. Personal ideology is about you. I have personal ideology. I'm not putting it on you. I'm not telling you what you have to think. You can think whatever you want to think. And I would never mandate or subvert your free will to get you to think the way that I think. And I even think that that's stupid. Why would you do that? Why force somebody to agree with you? They don't really agree with you. It's like going to a strip club. They don't like you. They don't want to be with you. They just want your money. I just want your allegiance. Believe like me. Bad things. You know, and I need to tear Rose Tico apart because she was defended, and the actress, perfectly lovely person. Again, it doesn't enter into it. I'm looking at this. This is just characters and people introduced. They could have made this character somebody that we liked. They didn't, and that's the problem. We don't like her, and I don't care how it was discussed online, and that somebody said something that sounded sexist or racist or something. You know, those guys are just assholes who don't know how to communicate. It's not about race. It's not about sex. It's literally about how she's being portrayed. She's breaking Finn's free will and forcing herself into situations. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, Luke throws his lightsaber away, which is honestly what I might have done as a writer, but many other details here would be completely different. But right now, we're looking at the switch flicked in The Force Awakens and their reversal here in The Last Jedi. It's a real problem walking back on most things established in the first film because we only have one more movie to wrap it up. And we have destroyed elements of the narrative that need to be replaced to finish the series. Our big bad Snoke, he's defeated in the second movie. Kylo lost at the end of the first film. And he switches sides, ultimately, in the second film and kind of in the third film. Where's the bad guy? What's the threat? Anyway, Kylo is treated like the petulant child he played in the first movie. This scene makes so much sense, except for the arbitrary removing of his helmet and the kind of making him look lame to the audience without replacing him. So if you remember in the scene, Snoke like berates him and like is kind of making fun of him, making fun of his helmet. He goes and he throws a tantrum. He takes the helmet off, and Rian Johnson is playing directly into how he was portrayed in the first movie, but it really generally kind of feels like he's being roasted a bit, like he's being roasted for his betrayal in the first movie. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to take your main bad guy down a peg, you need to replace him. You need to replace him with a different Knight of Ren, with somebody who's scary and intimidating, who's got, he needs to be demoted, and now he gets replaced with this new evil guy. And, when that second movie ends, you're just kind of like, who gives a shit about a third movie? Clearly they're going to win. Looking at the writing on the wall, based on the first film to this film, there was really nowhere to go for the third movie. Now, Luke says to Rey, quote, "You think what I'm going to walk out with a laser sword and defeat the whole First Order?" That's a quote. Yes. Yes, we did. Why are you saying it like that's not the plot of all the other Star Wars films? Guy walks out with a laser sword and defeats the whole First Order. And why are you mocking lightsabers by calling them laser swords? This is the first piece of evidence that suggests Rian really is not a fan. I have my little list of evidence down here. Evidence number 1, Luke and his, quote, laser sword coming out of the mouth of Mark Hamill of Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker mocking the lightsaber as a laser sword, okay? This is one of the first moments that I think the audience started to go, I feel like I'm being spoken down to. What? You think he's telling Rey, the young person who doesn't know what's going on, the writer knows what's going on, so coming out of the mouth of one of the characters that he's writing that knows what's going on, and he says, what, you think I'm going to walk out there with some laser sword and face down the First Order? Yeah, that's what your audience thought. And by calling it a laser sword, you're making fun of us. Fuck you, Rian Johnson. Seriously. Unless it was somebody else who made that line. Lame line. That's like some bullshit that like our mom might say to, what, are you going to go play with your laser sword, honey? Or some asshole, are you playing with laser swords with your friends? You're literally using the words used to mock people who care about this stuff in your script to mock one of the characters who is being written as a vessel for the audience to understand what's going on. You think XYZ is going to happen? It's not, he says to the audience, even though it seems like he's talking to Rey. He's talking down to us. That's evidence number 1, that he's not a geek like us, that he doesn't regard us. And there's more. There's more evidence. Now we got that moment back on the island with Rey and Luke. She's following him all around on the island. I'm going to take this straight to see bad thing number 1. Okay, so I have a list of like 10 things that I think are really great, that were my favorite things about this movie, that I think are the things that people love about this movie and that they wanted to see more of, and I would have liked to see more of. But then there's I think 3 things that I think are truly bad, that really undermined a lot of things. And some of this stuff you can actually put into the evidence that Rian isn't a fan. Specifically this one, which is drinking milk retrieved straight from the tit of the island alien cows who kind of moan as he squeezes their boobs. Truly, it's just so weird that it almost seems to be mocking the franchise. He literally like looks at the audience, like he turns to look at Rey as he drinks his ugly blue milk, like, yeah, you like it, you love it, you want some blue milk? I think I probably should have added this to the evidence that he's not trying to do us any favors as fans. But anyway, maybe this is just how Rian likes his sci-fi, a little kinky. And that's cool, all right? I mean, there are plenty of filmmakers out there who like their sci-fi and their horror a little kinky. James Gunn loves his stuff a little kinky, a little weird. Sometimes you watch a James Gunn movie and you're like, what the hell is going on here? But this blue milk thing, it was, I mean, granted, I know the blue milk is a thing, and then here's the alien that the milk comes out of. I don't know, man. I just felt like this was just sort of making a mockery of the thing, making it just too gross and weird. And it was in the middle of him being a jerk, and she's following him all around the island, and he doesn't want anything to do with him, and like in the middle of it, it's just like, here's some gross out humor or something. It was supposed to be funny. I wasn't laughing. I was like, I don't know. Your mileage may vary on how you felt about him drinking from the teat of that the giant space cow. Is it a giant space cow? I don't even know what it was. Something like that. Okay. So now, getting back to my regular part of my review, the beginning of Rey being no one, and that being a central theme of the film. So this is the start of her being talked to as if she comes from nowhere. She isn't anyone. Like, she's not related to Luke. She's not related to Leia. She's not related. They don't go specifics in these things, but they just start talking about how she comes from nowhere. And this continues to be a bit of the film. And eventually it's realized in like her accepting that she's just sort of a nobody from nowhere. But meanwhile, she's very special. She's got that Anakin kind of thing going on, not the Luke thing going on. She's got the Anakin thing going on where it's like, man, her midichlorians must be off the scale. That's been what's been happening with her the whole time. So to just be like, oh, you're nobody from nowhere, that takes away the excuse for her being so good as, well, she's the chosen one. She's no longer a chosen one character based on The Last Jedi. And that invalidates all of the chosen one-like shit that she's been doing leading up to this second movie. That demonstrates she's something special. She's got some extra advantage over other people. No. She's just no one. And it just so happens she has this major league advantage over everybody else in the franchise. I mean, literally at the end of this movie, Luke Skywalker is struggling to fight Kylo Ren, who had already been defeated by an untrained Rey at the end of the first movie. Whatever. Okay. Sorry. Now we got Poe getting demoted, rightly, for getting people killed. In the battle, he goes against orders. He's supposed to come in. He tries to take out a little bit more of the First Order ships. He ends up getting people killed. And now he will continue to make borderline stupid choices from here on out. And again, this wasn't something that was established in the first movie. This was all of a sudden in this movie, the very beginning, we see him and the wheels start to come off. Leia's questioning his decision making, even though his plan pays off, and his plan's stupid. He's mocking the guy. Granted, the plan's good for them, but it's stupid for the audience because it makes the First Order and it makes the bad guys of Star Wars seem useless and lame. So, bad plan for the audience. And even though it works, which we would rather did not work, he then turns off his comm, directly disobeys Leia talking to him. I mean, this is not a good soldier in your army of resistance fighters. He's a loose cannon. Granted, this whole situation is made way worse by the way that Admiral Holdo handles everything later on, and we'll talk about that when we get there, but just his character is just turned into a dunderheaded idiot, and I don't really understand why. I don't really feel like we learn anything from all the stupid choices that he's making, and especially I think we learn how stupid infighting and bickering is amongst good guys. Like, do we want to watch the Justice League petty fighting over just everything that they're doing? It's just the worst. Whenever you see the good guys taking the low road, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see their heroes depicted like that. And it's just the truth. And they should know this. They should realize this, that you are undermining your villains when you make them goofy and silly and the butt of the jokes. And you're undermining your heroes when you make them petty and squabbling over stupid things. That's just the reality. And the sooner Hollywood recognizes that they have to build these characters up, they have to give us a reason to look up to them and to be inspired by them or be intimidated by them. They can't just be constantly taking people down a peg. I mean, really, that kind of is the modus operandi of Hollywood right now. It's like they really want to go in and like go back in time and take all these people down a peg. Let's take Columbus down a peg. Let's take Washington down a peg. Let's take Disney down a peg. Let's take them all down a peg. And there was a great comedian who said something about his great-grandmother used to call, special needs people mongoloids. And he can remember his mom being like, they're not mongoloids, Mom, they're called retarded. And then he can remember when the chain switched and his mother was calling, special needs people retarded. And they were like, it's not special need. It's not retarded, Mom. It's mentally challenged. And now, mentally challenged has become special needs. And the point is, it's like, things are constantly changing, and these people of various times are doing what they're doing, not necessarily based on malice, but on the place and time that they're in. And to go back and retroactively wave and wag our finger at the people who essentially built society. These are our forefathers. They're all our forefathers. We're all humans. We're one human race, and these are our forefathers. And no, our forefathers were not great. They did enslave each other, and they were racist and ignorant, and they have polluted the planet, and they still are right now. We have our troubles, but it's an evolving conversation that's always being had here. And to look back and start waving our finger at our grandparents is to not be grateful that our grandparents lived to make the babies that eventually became us. Like if not for my backwards great-great-granddaddy, and I don't know how backwards my grandfather was. He's an old Jew. I'm a quarter Jewish, and my grandfather converted, so I'm kind of like a mutt. I grew up an atheist. Even though my parents tried to make me like a Protestant at some point. And so I had no religion for a really long time. And then I became very spiritual in my late 20s. And I kind of believe in everything now. I really believe in, respect for Jesus. And I bow to Jesus. I bow to Buddha. I bow to, I bow to Muhammad. I do. If you guys are going to go get into specific things, well, it says in this book. And I try not to get hung up on books that are written by fallible people. And it's kind of funny saying that because all this stuff is books written by fallible people, but there are great lessons that come out of all of these holy books and out of all this geek culture stuff, and that's the stuff that people adhere to and love and become a part of. And I think that's why I've taken the position of everybody, honor and respect everybody, because I see that there is some good going on in every religion, and that's why people have gravitated towards it in the first place. And yeah, perhaps there's a perspective where you can say, oh, this religion's better or that religion's worse and whatever else. It doesn't matter. I'd rather live in a world where we're all trying to respect each other. And I mean, I guess that's really the point here. Now we get into the light speed tracking. I think they give an explanation of how they're tracking them or whatever at some point, but traditionally light speed will bring you so far away from where you were, and with the infinite possibilities to follow, you can't follow them. So light speed tracking here, it's rather odd. And this whole thing of this space chase, and honestly, I'll leave it to somebody else to tear that apart. I'm sure somebody already has, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Now, at a certain point, Leia gets blown out of the airlock, and she's unconscious in space using the Force, which is, okay. Wouldn't it have been nice if she was given a worthy send-off in this film? Yeah, it would have been so nice. Though, I gotta say, the idea of continuing the story of Star Wars just to bring back beloved main characters and kill them is... I don't think, honestly, what anybody is looking for from any of this. I don't know. Okay. So, a little weird. We got R2-D2. He's in a little spaceship. For some reason, Luke's exploring the spaceship. He finds R2-D2, but it really is. It's a really wonderful moment. Him being shown the old Leia hologram to encourage his help. This was just very pat. I mean, I think 99 of the writers who pitched this movie probably pitched some version of that. Yeah, I would have done it. That idea, it was right there to be done, and it really is beautiful and wonderful when you see it. You see R2 and you see his reaction and all that. I love that bit. So now Leia's unconscious. Is this really best use of the character? Holdo sucks. Her look gives off this I'm an elite kind of vibe, and she's secretive with her troops. It's amazing how much could have gone better had she simply, said a few more words to her best pilot. This dialogue and every interaction with Poe, it's just petty infighting, like pissing contest kind of shit. Not heroes, assholes. I don't know about you, but this isn't how I like to see my heroes depicted on the big screen. Or in comic books, small screen, little screen, books, anything. I like heroes who act like heroes, not petty dickholes to each other. All right. So here goes. We got some Finn and Rose again. All the Finn and Rose stuff is so cringe. It really is. I mean, granted, actually, there is some stuff mixed in with the Rose Tico character and some of the storyline there that is some of the best stuff in this Star Wars. But the two of them, their actual interactions between each other are very... like just it's like not a good vibe. And it stinks because there's a lot of really good pairings. Like, Poe and Finn, they are a nice duo. And Rey and Kylo kind of have a nice back and forth together. They got some chemistry. But Rose and Finn, they just really, honestly, look at what's there. They don't have chemistry. A lot of it's the way it's been written. But they don't really look like vibe in any particular way that creates any energy. Not to me. It says here that one of the main reasons why the audience isn't enjoying this is because in The Force Awakens, we were quietly promised things that might come of Finn and his character. And guess what? This isn't it. Nothing to do with the stormtrooper angle, nothing to do with his force sensitivity, nothing to do with his interest in Rey. It's just, honestly, the Rose character seems like an insult to fangirls, or rather what Rian thinks is a typical fangirl. She's undermining herself by fangirling for the Resistance and, sort of lowering herself in certain ways. So she presents herself as like a person who looks up to people, not a person who is an equal to people. And that's a problem because you're essentially asking Finn to take a girlfriend who's not only not the lead of the film anymore, but somebody who's looking up for inspiration instead of somebody who has already earned their place as a hero in their own right. She's, fangirling out. And he's an actual character who's really gone through some things in the first movie, and he's going to go through some more, and she's going to go through it with him now. But I can't say it's particularly enjoyable. Okay. Oh my God, I completely forgot about the useless side mission with Benicio del Toro. Oh, I love Benicio del Toro, and he's great in it. If this story actually went anywhere, I'd have enjoyed the ride, but it didn't. It ends up being a total waste of energy and attention. More new Force powers for Rey and Kylo. They're connected in some strange way, like on FaceTime for the Force. And I said, what's with the little toad women cleaning and repairing Luke's hovel? Island caretakers, they say. Hardly seems to cover it. Luke's living on a lively island with a lot of animals and girls. Is one of these his girlfriend? Or was it the cow alien? Forgive me. Quote, reach out, Luke lesson number 1. This begins with another bit of silly, over-the-top humor, which undermines the seriousness and beauty of the Force. Evidence number 2 that Rian may not actually be a fan. During Rey's Force training, he says, reach out. She reaches out her hand, and then he starts gently tickling the top of her hand. She's like, I feel something. And she's like, that's not anything. It's just this stupid, over-the-top gag that undermines the authority of the Force, the build-up of excitement to this moment of her being trained by Luke Skywalker. This matters. And it's just undermining the gravitas. That's the word that I was looking for. It's undermining the gravitas of the whole thing. And it's rather upsetting. Now, I can't believe how long I've been talking about this movie. We're getting into our second episode. Our first episode was a little bit about Disney Star Wars in general, but we started talking about The Last Jedi. Now I'm getting into the meat and potatoes of things, and I still have a lot left to do. And right here, it says, see good thing number 1 and 2. I am going to skip the good things. I am going to do a good things of Last Jedi episode as like a third part to this. This will be the bad parts, and this is going to be me ranting about the bad things. But if you want to hear the good things, next week, I'm going to go through the 10 great things about The Last Jedi, which I really believe are really great things, and I wish that they were explored more by J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams did not carry the ball for any of the good things that came out of The Last Jedi, which really sucks because The Last Jedi did do some good things. Despite doing a lot of bad things, it did do some good things, and none of those things got carried into the next movie. But I'm going to save those for a special third episode in relation to this, and I'm going to record it right after I finish getting through all the bad stuff here. So I'm going to skip the good stuff for now. I'm sorry, but we're just going to keep it to the negative. This bit where Rose and Finn find the very special, quote, master codebreaker they need only to be unceremoniously arrested for parking on a beach. Why park on the beach? Clearly people are visiting this place. It's like a casino or something like that. There are people betting on alien horse races. There are obviously places to park. So this too seems a bit like we're mocking a very simple adventure comic novella kind of premise of like we're searching for a certain man who's going to help us on the mission. And like literally they're about to get him. There he is. It's the guy with the red brooch. And they're about to approach him and they get arrested. And again, it just seems like a joke being made at the expense of an audience who is expecting certain things from their science fiction adventure, movie. And, and this for me is more evidence that, I kind of feel like he's fucking with us. I feel like he's fucking with the audience. He doesn't really, he's not laughing with us. He's laughing at us. Aha, you thought I was going to do that. Tricked you again. Like, there's a lot of like, you thought I was going to, fooled you. It feels like Spaceballs. Fooled you. I've got your Swartz ring now. Not my best Dark Helmet, but... All right, now we're back to Rey. She's training herself in front of this big rock. I don't know why she's bothering to train. She's already defeated the film's main Darth Vader antagonist type in the previous movie. She's already beaten him. It's like the exact same thing that's going to happen in the Marvel Universe with Kang. First, Loki beats Kang. Now, Ant-Man beats Kang. Now you're going to put somebody really like powerful and cool in front of him and we're going to be like, well, clearly this guy's going to beat Kang as well. Everybody beats Kang. We've already beat Kang multiple times. Thanos, he was showing up and he would be teased and he was scary and, oh no, we're going to have to fight that guy one day. Oh no, we're going to have to fight that guy one day. Not we beat him and we beat him and we beat him and we beat him. Thanos literally wins in Avengers Endgame. Or no, not Avengers Endgame, in Avengers Infinity War. It's just so crazy to me to see these characters handled in this way that undermines their effectiveness so completely. Now we're back to the space chase, which honestly, it doesn't make any sense to me, and it's not particularly cinematic. It's like Star Wars, a ship show. They're just on a ship. It doesn't feel specifically Star Wars to me either. I guess because it feels a little bit like a Star Trek kind of thing. And that BB-8 unit took out 4 guards by shooting change at them. Or poker chips, whatever. All right. Usually it was like R2-D2. He's shocking that one guy. It's like, thanks, he got him. One guy. He 3 guys. The 4th guy's coming. I'm a little beach ball droid, and I'm gonna take you out, mother effer. We got cute alien critters in an alien horse stable. Parentheses, see great shit. We'll get into the great shit in the next episode. Now, I got to talk about Rose Tico. She's a strange character. Because now we keep looking at her as somebody who's going to use their own inner thoughts to dictate what's right for everybody around them. We don't like that. Her trying to save Finn in the end also ends up getting viewed not as her saving him, but once again as her sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. It's an infuriating character, the way she's written. All the normies who have been fighting the notion that she isn't a compelling character, I think your choice of fight, like you've chosen this fight for the wrong reasons, okay? This isn't about sexism. She's written very poorly. It's not about racism. She's written bad. If we make a list of the top 100 characters in all of Star Wars, she ain't on it, period. So, like, just don't waste your breath defending Rose Tico. You're fucking out of your mind. She's not presented very well. This is not a hill to die on, people. Anyway, you should know it's true if you're looking at it objectively in any way, shape, or form. Let's not embarrass ourselves here. This character is a middling entry into the lore at best. Next up, we got, quote, is it true? Did you try to murder him? And here we go on my list of the 3 worst sins of this film. Oh my God. This is the movie's most brutal sin. Luke goes into his nephew's tent, turns on his lightsaber, and considers murdering his nephew in cold blood. I don't care if it's for even a split second. A good person does not do this. He deserved the reaction he got from Kylo. He is responsible for creating that monster. He betrayed his sister and his best friend by even considering what he did. Their child was put in his care, and he seriously thought about murdering him in his sleep. It's just disgusting, guys. It's disgusting. To take Luke Skywalker, the beacon of light, and turn him into a man that considered murdering his own nephew. Not even like in a fair fight, we got into a fight and I killed him. Like he's sleeping at Luke's feet. And Luke's like, lightsaber on, I could just kill him so quick. What a lazy, despicable loser move. A loser move. What kind of piece of crap does that? You don't think you can win fair and square, so you're just going to kill him while he sleeps? Everything that he says later in the movie about how the Jedi should have been retired and they're old and passé, whatever the crap, like, it is represented by him and this decision only. This is not the action of a hero. This is not the actions of Luke Skywalker. No wonder Mark Hamill was distraught and didn't agree with his character's depiction in the film. It's a terrible depiction. It's honestly character assassination. It's a moment you either have to explain away to yourself or pretend it never happened, because it's too much. It makes you feel sick and dirty. The man who chose to see good in his own father, Darth fucking Vader, gives up on the next generation, his own nephew, and thinks about murdering him in his sleep. Where's the hope? Luke was the hope. You killed the hope, Rian. I put this on you, man. Rian Johnson, you've defended this 1,000,000 times. Dude, you murdered the hope at the center of Star Wars. You're really bummed out, Mark Hamill. If it wasn't Luke Skywalker, I could almost forgive you. But Luke of all people, some of the decisions in this movie are just what? And they literally do. The only explanation for them that I can really come up with is that Rian Johnson is fucking with us, and he just cares about these things so little that to him it was just fun. It was fun. Oh, maybe that. Oh, people are really going to be upset when they find out that happened. That seems to be more of like his motivation in terms of writing things. The things that are the best about this movie are him basically taking apart society and using the Star Wars world to show some of the terrible troubles that go on in human society. And it's great. And I will talk about that stuff because that stuff's good. But again, all Rian does, even when he's doing good stuff or when he's doing bad stuff, is he pokes us in the face and is like, nah, it's not like that. It's like this. Nah, it's not like that. It's like this. Look, it's like this. It's like this. You guys aren't right. You guys are wrong. It should be like this. It's very preachy. Like, this whole movie is very kind of preachy, even though so many of the things that it preaches I do agree with. It's like, but it just doesn't come off like a story. It comes off like, preach on, Rian Johnson, preach on. Like, and I don't like anybody writing a movie, doing a TV show, writing a comic where they are preaching at me, man. Yoda, yay! Laugh out loud. Force lightning from the sky. He's going to burn it down. So, Luke's going to burn it down. So Yoda does it first. And then, I'm tempted to put this in the worst section and the best section. It's time for the Jedi Order to end. Look past the pile of old books and sacred Jedi texts. Page turners they were not, Yoda says. So now this is some really great ancient wisdom. Living in the now. There is only one moment. There is now. Time is an idea. Past is an idea. Future is an idea. But the present is happening at this very moment. And living in the now is a very important thing. Homework assignment, if you want to be on the spiritual path, go check out the book, The Power of Now. It's a really great book. It's on my to reread list. Being in the moment is ancient wisdom. The Jedi should be teaching wisdom of this variety. Holdo, she won't tell her people anything. She's a terrible leader. There are things that you can say to your crew without telling them exactly what your plan is. And this is just useless, meaningless, petty conflict going on instead of heroes, acting like heroes, assholes fighting amongst themselves. I just want to keep saying that. Assholes fighting amongst themselves. Most of this movie is just assholes fighting amongst themselves. It's quite sickening. And again, I almost feel like it's Rian Johnson commenting of some kind. He's like, you think these heroes are so heroic, but these heroes aren't heroes. They're just assholes like you and me. I don't want to watch a movie about assholes like you and me. I want to watch a movie that inspires me to be better than I am. God damn it. So now we got Rey working on Kylo. She's seen his future. It can be okay for him. And oh no, it's Snoke, who will soon die, barely introduced without us understanding anything about him until all that is thrown out the window next movie in favor of something about clones. So they didn't waste killing the good big bad in the second film. Ugh, like Big Daddy. Sonny, we wasted the good surprise on you! Now we get the double cross. Leia wakes up in time to shoot Poe, and I guess now we're supposed to like Holdo now because she's going to self-sacrifice? No, Holdo's a drama queen. That character and these writers can F themselves. So, bad, uninteresting character, not fleshed out in any meaningful way, young Leia with purple hair, basically, who causes a ton of problems. Why would the audience like that character? Why is anybody defending this stupid character? Don't defend a woman because it's a woman. Defend a woman because she's right. This character, it's not a woman to me. This is a character as far as I'm concerned. And this character is corrupt. I wish she wasn't a part of the resistance. She's bringing the resistance down. And Poe, the way they're depicting him, he's bringing the resistance down. These aren't the heroes I want on my side. So now we find out Snoke bridged Rey and Kylo's mind. He's using his Sith power that we previously didn't know about. The Force can do anything now. It's the Force. You want to heal a snake? Force. Rian thought it meant like force a situation. Force ideas to work. Force his version of things into continuity. Force, force, force. The things that he chooses to do, Rian, most of them feel like he's mocking us. It doesn't feel like he's like bringing us on a ride. It feels like he's dissing me for trying to like this movie and being interested in the franchise if it went the normal way that we expected. If you want to see what you expect to see, then you're stupid. No, I'm not. Why did they hire you? You clearly don't like this stuff. P.S. The Holdo maneuver ain't working out so good. After all that, the First Order is taking out their escape pods. So after the whole stupid side quest, not side quest, but just like them fighting and bickering over nothing, it didn't even help. Holdo's plan didn't even help. They've noticed that the ships are leaving and they're blowing them up now and killing people. And it's just so the movie can happen that the main character's ship didn't get targeted and blown up first. And so much time takes place between now and then. They should have been able to kill every single ship. Should have been able to blow up every single ship. They've got multiple ships following them. Here I wrote, she can turn him, Snoke. Watch out. They're going to kill you one movie early. He wasn't expecting that. No! The red guys coming to fight them is so nonchalant, too. But we beat the bad guy. We got a whole other movie to make, and the big bad guy is now gone. Ugh. More good stuff that I'll save to next episode. That'll be the good parts episode. We can praise the aspects of this film that are so great. I keep writing rant about this, rant about that. Kill it. Guys, don't kill the past. Don't enshrine the past either. Don't kill it. Don't enshrine it. A little bit of both. Live in the present, in honor and acknowledgement of the past, and in honor and acknowledgement of the future. Balance. Not just, screw our forefathers, they were wrong. They were doing the best they could based on where they were at and what was going on. And it might not seem good enough yet, but it will continue to improve, and dishonoring our forefathers is not the way to go. You just speaking ill of the dead, It's just not cool. They're not here to defend themselves. Kylo tells Rey her parents were nobody. They're dead. She comes from nothing. She's a Mary Sue, for lack of a better term. And something that could be kind of helped with the choice of the right parents. But now she's just uniquely special and totally overpowered. Now we got Holdo trying one last ditch to make us like her, while Finn and Rose are about to be decapitated. Will something happen in the nick of time to save them? I think so. Holdo crashes the ship into the First Order ship at light speed. It looks very beautiful. This makes all the other storylines move forward, so Rey and Kylo are interrupted from their fight, Phasma falls through the floor, and the pods that should have all been destroyed already, if we're being realistic, are now able to get away. Good thing all the characters we know are in one of the ships that didn't get blown up. I'd have liked to see Finn start a revolution on the ship, lead a revolt, something bigger and cooler than this. Something like with the kids being inspired by the Resistance, let's get the stormtroopers inspired by the Resistance and led by Finn. Wouldn't that have been cool? What a missed opportunity that was. Quote, the girl murdered Snoke, and now Kylo's in charge. But who gives a shit, because the stakes here are nothing. Because we've got just like a faceless enemy, the First Order. Just a generic evil empire. Hux is just lame. Kylo has already been defeated. The big bad in the background is dead. No wonder they brought Palpatine into the third movie. And I say that shot of dead Snoke lying on the ground is evidence that Rian Johnson is not a geek, not a fan, number 5. embarrassing Snoke in death. He gets killed a movie earlier, and then we just look at him, and he's filmed in a way that really takes away all of his evil, all of his malice, all of his monstrousness. He was hidden in shadows in the first movie, in The Force Awakens. Now in The Last Jedi, he's in like robes. He's kind of like dressed like what's the dude from the Playboy Mansion who like owns the Playboy, like Hugh Hefner. He's dressed like a space Hugh Hefner with weird scars and shit. It's bizarre. And now here he is, just kind of drooling, making a weird face. He's dead. He's dead. He's no threat at all. He never really was a threat. He was just some stupid science fiction bad guy that J.J. Abrams showed you in the first movie, you darn loser sci-fi fans. That seems to be what he's saying to me. That's my evidence. You know, you want the Jedi to die, the fire to the Jedi, let it die, all these things. These are all the bits that said to the audience, I don't know, maybe this guy isn't on my side completely. All right, here we go to the finale with the red salt that looks like bloody snow. Movie looks okay, I guess. Not as great as Rogue One, but okay looking. I like that the glass wolves live in the bunker. I'm just kidding. I don't. It's just a stupid plot device. It doesn't make any sense. Finn, Rose, and BB-8 have concluded their useless mission. Accomplished. Saved some space horses, I guess. Beat Phasma, but not in a way that made anyone happy to see it. In a way where the audience thought, well, she'll be back in the next one. And then she wasn't. We got Chewie and a Porg to the rescue. Cute in a cash grabby kind of way. Rey's here too. Red crystal caves. Cool. There's a giant cannon on the field, and Finn, he's going for it. But Rose, she's going to save him. But it's not going to feel good. I can't even explain why. You know, I'm not even sure if it's because we don't like them as a couple and his sacrifice is kind of cool as a former stormtrooper. But like if Poe saved him, I don't think the audience would have cared. But this just left a weird taste in your mouth. I think in particular because the way we met her in her, tasing him in the opening. So we're going to win. She says we're going to win by saving what we love. But we don't want Rose to love Finn because we want Finn to have Rey because Finn obviously kind of loves Rey. And we don't want Finn to be loved and have to reject someone's affection. Like, we don't want to put him in that situation where now we got to make Rose Tico feel bad. We're not monsters. We just don't really want Finn to be with Rose. So you put the audience in a really bad place here. This is another one of the reasons why they don't like Rose Tico. We don't want to root against some sweet, lovesick little fangirl. We don't want her in the movie is really the thing. And then we don't have to root against her if she's not in the movie. But she is in the movie, and you're making us root against her. She's third-wheeling. She's doing a terrible job convincing us that she's the better match for Finn. And just wrenching up the gears with her addition the way she's been played here. And granted, she could have been played fine. So many other ways her character could have been written that would have saved this. The actress is fine. You're like this, it's all good. Like it could have been good, but the way they did it is what killed it. Ugh. And seriously, why did we put Leia in a coma for most of the movie? Now she's back, she's sitting, she's talking with Luke, but I can't say it's exactly the combo that I've been longing for. Quote, I changed my hair as a little joke to start off the conversation. Again, we're going to undermine every powerful moment with a genuinely silly/stupid joke. She knows her son's gone and Luke is responsible. He says, no one's ever really gone. Well, you redeemed your father, didn't you? Perhaps we need not use the same nihilist thinking that got us here to get us out. All right, now it's time for Luke to go walk about. He's going to go as a Force ghost. He's going to go on to the battle. He's going to stop the whole battle. He's going to distract everybody from what's going on. And this whole movie is played in this weird way. Actually, I should say this whole franchise has been played in this weird way. As if Leia and Luke and Han are not really rock stars. They're cannon fodder. They're bringing them in as props from the previous films. These characters are rock stars. They are movie stars. They're movie stars. This is the one movie where they're movie stars. If you cast them in the movie as the characters that they are known for, they can be the stars of your movie, and the movie can matter because of things that they're doing. They shouldn't be these little side characters. It's so infuriating. All of Disney Star Wars seems to be embarrassed by the original trilogy. or at least embarrassed by its stars. They want trendy, sexy new ones. But why? We already love the others. We already love the established characters. Just give us a movie with them. Why couldn't you give us a movie with the characters that everybody already decided they loved? And try to work on selling us on some new ones as we get to watch another movie with those beloved characters. This is just a movie about people that you're trying to make us like, with characters that we really do like inserted off to the fringe on the side. It doesn't matter. That's him right there. That's Luke Skywalker. You should have utilized him, not just sent him out with a bang. I've never read the extended universe, but from what I've heard, it sounds dope. He's married, he's got kids. It's all such a waste. Oh no, Luke is facing Kylo alone? But he lost to Rey multiple times. Surely he'll beat the OG Jedi with ease, or so Poe Dameron's dialogue wants us to believe. The stakes are arbitrary at best. Good thing about the wild crystal foxes that hang out in their military bunker. Now they can escape with a little help from Rey. Quote, I've never lifted a rock before, Palpatine. This little lightsaber duel with Luke is so much more closely matched than with Rey. Mostly because it's the end of the movie and we need to create tension that isn't there. Quote, I'll destroy her. Like you haven't multiple times now? Nope, Kylo. Luke was using his Force astral projection powers as a distraction. So we didn't actually get a scene with Luke and Leia. That's interesting. That's weird that doesn't feel good. When you find out that Luke wasn't really there, it actually bothers you that he saw Leia, but he wasn't there, which means they weren't actually in the room together. Very subtle, strange complaint. But it does cheapen them seeing each other. It also cheapens his death as far as I'm concerned. Like, what's the difference between him disappearing into dust as a Force ghost on the island where he is, or him actually, getting defeated by Kylo Ren or something, I don't know, something more interesting than this shit. Now that the fight's over, we got Luke on his island. Luke the last vampire, I guess, as he's turning to dust in front of the sunset, or the sun's set, multiple suns setting. And I sense a disturbance in the Force, Leia and Rey seem to say. Now Poe and Rey finally meet, and Luke is gone, but it was not sad. It was, quote, purpose. Why? What purpose does him disappearing into dust at this stage of the game have? He basically committed suicide? He killed himself? There's still a war. There's still another movie. Why would we kill Luke Skywalker before the end of the trilogy when we've already killed Han Solo in the first one? And clearly, Leia needed to work less hours because we put her in a coma for half of her freaking movie in the second one. Like, I just do not understand these stupid choices. All right, well, that's the movie. But, I have things to say about it. I want to recap the different things that were set up in The Force Awakens that went backwards, that were reversed, all these reversals that happened. And I do want to get into the things that I actually loved about The Last Jedi, because I do love a lot of things about the Jedi. I got a list of 10 things, and I'm going to go into them in detail. I'm going to do it next week. It'll be my, the good about The Last Jedi episode. But until then, please like, subscribe, rate, comment, do all the things. You can drop me an email at jesseblaze@jessesnider.com, JESSEBLAZE @jessesnider.com. You can follow Dilf USA on Spotify for our theme song, and look for King of Kings #1 on Kickstarter. It's my new comic book with artist David Witt, my co-writer, co-creator Mark Polton. It's a comedy about gods in a battle of the bands to determine the reigning ideology of the day. The title of King of Kings has gone to Jesus for 13,000 years, but not this year, buddy. This year it's going to be a different god taking home the title of King of Kings. But the page isn't up yet. Well, the page is up, so you can go search on King of Kings. You can sign up to be notified. We'll actually be launching in a couple weeks, I think, but It's a really great book. It's a labor of love. Been working on it for many, many years now, and I'm really, really happy to get it out into people's hands. So check that out and do all the other things that you feel like doing. If you're on Twitter, I am Coolest Geek Alive, JBS. Anyway, I love you. Join me next time for part freaking 3, the good parts. The good parts conversation about The Last Jedi. And I'll also do a little bit of recapping, comparing, and contrasting all of the things that this movie fucked up for the trilogy. All of the reasons why this movie is responsible for how bad the third one is. And I know it seems strange to be like, yo, man, the guy who made the second movie, which was much better than the third movie, is actually responsible for why the third movie sucks so bad. But as a writer, I'm here to tell you, that's what happened. The guy who did the second movie fucked it up so badly that he ruined the trilogy. He ruined the trilogy. And maybe there's somebody who could have pulled it out, but I honestly don't think anybody could have. I really don't think that after this film that anything could have been done to bring the Disney Star Wars trilogy to a satisfying conclusion. And that's just sad. Anyway, I love you. Thank you for spending all this time with me. Join me next time on Coolest Geek Alive. Peace.
You've been listening to Coolest Geek Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snider. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent geek culture content. Thanks for listening.
It's gonna be freaking awesome. Coolest alive. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be freaking awesome. And crying sometimes too. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Spilling it out. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Making you shout. I'm a genius. I got lyrics coming out my bum for days. You like that? It's a kazoo solo. Play that too. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Living your shit. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Food in our mouth. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Get in our mouth. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Call right on text. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Straight to the stars. It's gonna be freaking awesome. It's starting soon. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Passing the moon. It's gonna be freaking awesome. On with the show. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Ready, set, go. It's going to be freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. It's going to be freaking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. You'll all see.